What's up everyone, it's Rifle here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys the top 7 weapons to help you go flawless in the Trials of the 9, because these weapons are tremendously good, and I have been seeing a lot of awkward loadouts in Trials, I'm not going to lie. So hopefully this ends up helping the community out, where more people will be able to go flawless easier. In this video, I'm not going to be mentioning the Mida multi-tool just because I'm sure a lot of you already know that that is a great weapon to use. I'm actually not going to be going over any exotics in this video. Instead, I'm going to be showing you other weapons that can be used instead of just the Mida multi-tool, because it seems like just everybody is using that weapon. Don't get me wrong, it's a great scout rifle, but there's others out there that could be used to make your setup better. As you can see, I've went flawless on all 3 of my characters, and also I've helped people go flawless as well. This number 3 that's right underneath my power level means that I have went flawless on each of my characters. You can't go flawless on your character twice in a row, just doesn't work like that. So if I go flawless on my hunter once, I can't do another one to add another number onto this. You can only get 3 at a time, unless you maybe delete one of your characters and then grind that out to go flawless again. That might work, but as far as I know, you can only raise this number 3 times each weekend. Once again, I don't know if that whole deleting character scenario works, but hey, if it does, then it does. I just never did that. I ended up helping other people out once I went flawless on each of my characters. And hopefully these weapons that I show you in this video ends up helping you guys go flawless. That is my goal out of making this video, to get more of the community to be able to go flawless on their own. Once again, I have been seeing some really awkward setups. So let's go ahead and get into this. If you guys could, please take a little bit of your time to leave a like. Your guys' support is greatly appreciated. Now the first one I'm going to be going over is, as you can see, Uriel's Gift. This thing can hit like a truck at a very, very far distance, and of course at a close distance as well. That's what makes this auto rifle stand out, and it's probably one of the best weapons in the game currently, in my opinion. I do really well with this weapon. As you can see, for the perks it has is Spark PS, OMOLON Post Sight Short Zoom. It slightly increases range and increases handling speed, but I prefer the bottom scope called Flash HS5. This increases range and also slightly increases handling speed, and I seem to do better with this. But I'm not going to tell you guys to for sure use this scope if you get this. You know, play around with both of them and see what you're most comfortable with. Anyways, for the next perk on here is high caliber rounds, and of course this is a great perk to have because it staggers your opponents. And also, as you can see, it slightly increases the range. But other than high caliber rounds, it also has steady rounds. This magazine is optimized for recoil control. It greatly increases stability and it slightly decreases range. This can also be a beneficial perk. Once again, play around with them until you find what is most comfortable with your playstyle. Lastly up though, it has Tap the Trigger. And what this does is grants a short period of increased stability and accuracy on initial trigger pull. This is extremely useful for the range side of this auto rifle. I mean, as you can see, this thing just demolishes opponents. I highly suggest trying this out because you might find your new favorite weapon. And by the way, all these legendaries I'm going to be showing you can be found just by decrypting legendary engrams, or you can find them by the gunsmith as well. So keep that in mind. These aren't that difficult to get your hands on. Anyways, for this next weapon I have for you guys, by the way, I tried to switch it up from pulse, hand cannon, scout rifles, so I'm not going over pretty much the same kind of weapon type. But this is a pulse rifle I highly suggest trying to get your hands on. It is a full auto pulse. This is a great weapon to use to outgun your other opponents because, once again, it's full auto, so it gives you that upper advantage, so you don't have to technically keep tapping the trigger. Anyways, for the perks on it, has lightweight frame, superb handling, move faster with this weapon equipped. That's nice to have. For the scopes, it has Torch HS3, OMOLON Red Dot Medium Zoom, greatly increases range and slightly decreases handling speed. It also has Flash HS5, which I just went over this in the Uriel's Gift. What this does increases range and also it slightly increases handling speed. I prefer using this scope. Once again, just play around with them until you find what you're comfortable with. Anyways, next up we have Ricochet Rounds. What this does is increases stability and slightly increases range. So I preferred this perk over this one. As you can see, steady rounds. This magazine is optimized for recoil control, greatly increases stability, but it slightly decreases range. I don't know why I just found myself playing better with ricochet rounds than steady rounds. But hey, it might be different for you. Anyways, lastly, it has full auto trigger system. Like I said before, this is a full auto pulse. Holding down the trigger will fire this weapon at full auto. And as you can see, this pulse definitely wrecks its opponents, especially if you got a good team fire going on.
Call the Praxic order. Call the
Next up, I'm going to get into a heavy weapon. I'm going to go over 2 heavy weapons that I highly suggest to you guys. This first one is a tracking rocket launcher. And no, it isn't the dubious volley, as a lot of you may know about that rocket. No, I'm not going to be showing you an exotic weapon. This right here is a legendary rocket that can track its opponents. As you can see, the main perk on it. This weapon fires a small auto-tracking missile. Missiles lock onto targets when aimed, so this is definitely handy to use in trials because more than likely you're not going to miss your rocket. And I'm not going to lie, it seems like rockets have had a major nerf where their explosions are just not good enough. Anyways, for the other perks on it, has confined launch, greatly increases stability, increases blast radius, and decreases projectile speed. Now I have this one selected, but I actually prefer the bottom perk right here, volatile launch. As you can see, it greatly increases blast radius, but it slightly decreases handling speed and projectile speed. But I don't think any of that really matters. What matters is the blast radius with a rocket, because if you have a good blast radius, you have a better chance at getting your kill when shooting the rocket. And you guys should know how rockets are in the PvP world now. You don't really have that many. But yeah, having a good rocket shot could get more than just one enemy down. So anyways, up next for the perks has alloy casing. What this does is it reduces weight for faster reloads. I don't actually suggest this over this one, high velocity rounds. I don't know why exactly I had the top node selected. I actually prefer the bottom ones, but what the alloy casing does, it greatly increases reload speed and decreases stability. I don't really think reloading a rocket fast is really that beneficial. I prefer the high velocity rounds, which increases projectile speed and also increases reload speed. And lastly, it has snapshot sights. Faster time to aim down sights, which by the way, that is how you get this rocket to track your enemies, by aiming down your sights. But yeah, that's it for one of the powers. I'm also going to be showing you another one. But for now, let's move on to a primary weapon, which is this hand cannon called the Old Fashioned. I really enjoyed the playstyle of this hand cannon. Some of you guys might enjoy others, such as the Better Devils or something like that. This one I just enjoyed because of the kill clip that was in it. And also I just like the way this weapon looks more than, you know, the other hand cannons. Don't get me wrong, looks is not important whatsoever for gameplay. But for the perks on this, it has adaptive frame, a well-rounded grip, reliable and sturdy, which is nice. For the sights, it has true sight, fast draw, and hit mark. I preferred the true sight sight. And for the magazine perks, it has accurized rounds. This weapon can fire longer distances and increases the range with this one. And the other one is drop mag, which what this does is increases the reload speed basically. As you can see, magazine drops on reload, wasting ammunition but greatly increasing reload speed. Now as I think about it, I would actually prefer this over accurized rounds because one of the main perks out of this is the kill clip, which reloading after a kill grants increased damage, so having a faster reload could be more beneficial with the combination of kill clip. But yeah, I really enjoyed the playstyle of this Old Fashioned and suggest it to hand cannon fans. Something to keep in mind when using the Old Fashioned is checking out the lucky pants. I'm sure a lot of you guys have gotten this exotic for the Hunter, and by the way, I don't really know that many exotics for the Warlock and Titan, so I can't really tell you guys like the best exotics to use with them. Helps out hand cannon gameplay. As you can see, increases hand cannon ready speed and initial accuracy, and also it can increase mobility and resilience. So yeah, definitely a good combination to use with the Old Fashioned. Up next is a sidearm, and by the way, in case you guys are wondering why aren't I showing off like weapons you get out of trials to use, because some of them can be pretty good, that is because I wanted to choose a selection that will help you go flawless to get those weapons. Maybe I could do a review over those weapons sometime in the future, but for now, I wanted to show you guys the best weapons to choose to go flawless for your first time. And personally, I prefer the Uriel's Gift over the Trials auto rifle called the Prosecutor. Some people, you know, prefer the Prosecutor over Uriel's Gift, but hey, that's my opinion. Anyways, as I mentioned before, this next one is a sidearm, and this thing is freaking incredible. This is like the new best sidearm in the game. It's called the Last Hope. And I will say a great combination to use with this sidearm is these gauntlets right here for the Hunter. They're called MECHANEER'S TRICKSLEEVES. Now I don't really play with other classes that much, but I know these gauntlets really help out sidearms. As you can see, spring-loaded mounting increases sidearm ready and reload speed, and also it increases mobility or resilience. But still, that perk right there could definitely help you out when using a sidearm. Suggest using that as a combination with the Last Hope. But the perks on the Last Hope has OMOLON adaptive frame, which what this does is it makes it well-rounded, reliable, and it also fires a 3-round burst. For the sights, it has Control SAS, Stable Sidearm Sight, increases handling speed and increases stability. It also has FARPOINT SAS, which this increases the range but decreases stability and handling speed. Now, I don't really prefer to use sidearms at a long range. They're mainly meant for medium to close range combat, so I just kept the Control SAS. But some of you guys might try the FARPOINT SAS and do better with it. I don't know how you guys actually play for your play style. If you like to use sidearms at a far distance, then go with that FARPOINT SAS. Anyways, for the perks it has is ricochet rounds. This increases stability and also slightly increases range, and the bottom perk is steady rounds. This greatly increases stability, but it slightly decreases range. I went with the ricochet rounds because I want that slight increase to range and also keep the increase going with the stability. Lastly, it has the Zen Moment. Like I was saying before, I wanted to keep the increase going with the stability. As you can see, what Zen Moment does is causing damage with this weapon increases its stability. Having a solid stability on a sidearm, I feel is crucial. Some of you guys might feel different, but I feel like it really helps out with game style.
Excellent. 2 for 1.
Okay, so next up, I got another power weapon for you guys, and this is a fusion rifle. For all you fusion rifle lovers out there, I definitely suggest trying to get your hands on this. This is called the Tarantula, and as you can see, this thing looks freaking sweet. This is one of the only linear fusion rifles in the game. There might be one other, I believe. I'm not exactly sure how many there is, but I know there is not that many. I think this is like one of the 2 that you can get. As you can see, for the perks, it has this precision frame, fires a long-range precision energy bolt. This weapon's recoil pattern is more predictably vertical. For the barrels on it, has hammer forged rifling, small bore, and corkscrew rifling. I chose hammer forged rifling. This just increases the range. It also has small bore, which, increases the range and stability. You might want this, I don't know. I didn't really find that big of a difference from choosing these barrels, to be completely honest with you guys. And the last one is slightly increases range and stability and also slightly increases handling speed. Now that I think about it, this might be the best barrel to choose out of these. I didn't really see that big of a difference, but this seems like it does more for the weapon. Anyways, up next for the batteries, it can come with particle repeater, which this increases stability, and projection fuse, which this increases range. So whichever one you prefer. If you feel like you need more range on the fusion rifle, then go with that. If you feel like it needs more stability, then go with this one. Lastly up, it has snapshot sights, which all this does is faster time to aim down sights. But yeah, that's it for the perks. I highly suggest you guys to check out this linear fusion rifle. This thing can wreck, especially if you get down the shot good enough. It's just like a sniper. Okay, so I've went over an auto rifle, a pulse rifle, a hand cannon, a rocket, a sidearm, and a fusion rifle. Now I'm going to go over a scout rifle. Like I said before, I didn't want to go over the Mida multi-tool because everybody knows that is a great weapon. Instead, this scout rifle is pretty much like the Mida multi-tool. It's called the Nameless Midnight, except the only difference is it has explosive rounds and you don't get, boost movement speed or active radar when zoomed in. But if you have the exotic knucklehead radar for the hunter, that could pretty much be a substitute where you could use this as a Mida multi-tool. You might not just be as fast with it. But anyways, as you can see, the perks on it is this weapon's recoil pattern is more predictably vertical, which is called precision frame. It also has for the scopes red dot 2 MOA, which slightly increases range and increases handling speed, red dot micro, which increases range and increases handling speed, and lastly rifle scope SSF, which slightly increases range but slightly decreases handling speed. I just went with the top scope called red dot 2 MOA. For the magazine perk, starting with flared magwell, what this does is slightly increases stability and also greatly increases reload speed, and it also has steady round. Greatly increases stability but slightly decreases range. I prefer flared magwell definitely with that greatly increased reload speed and increases stability. For the last perk on this, like I said before, this scout rifle has explosive rounds. As you can see, explosive payload. Projectiles create an area of effect detonation on impact. This is a great scout rifle to substitute a Mida multi-tool. In case you guys don't really want to play with the Mida, this is definitely a scout rifle to consider. But yeah, there you guys have it. This took forever to make. My top 7 weapons that you guys should use to try to go flawless in trials. Hopefully these weapons end up helping you guys out, which I'm sure they will, because once again, I have seen a lot of people using some awkward weapons in trials, and I believe these are pretty solid. So if you aren't using these, consider using them, because these will definitely help you get flawless easier. I'm out of here though, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to watch and listen, and hopefully this ends up helping you guys out. Until next time, peace.